Hi again. It's the next stage in this installation of the ESU coach lights. Right, what I've done now is I've installed the memory backup capacitor, or soldered it on, not installed. And I'll show you later where to, there are lots of places to put these things to hide them. So on the board, you might just be able to make it out. It says PP where they're soldered to. It stands for power pack. That's where you install, install again, where you solder this onto. I've no idea whether the wires are long enough. I temporarily measured them for where I want to put them. If not long enough, I'll just change them. Normally what I would also do is put heat shrink on those two terminals there, but I've done this just for this video. This won't be the final installation. On the top there you should be able to see cap, which obviously stands for capacitor. Now it's advising that you use a minimum of 35 volts capacity as a minimum to store the charge. Now, a good example of why you do that, my time as network or IT manager rather for the NHS, we bought an awful lot of computers off a particular company which I won't mention, and a while ago, I'm going back several years now, that particular manufacturer purchased cheap motherboards to put in the desktop computers. Now, those particular motherboards, when the computers went into the NHS, hospitals and so on, they started exploding, which wasn't very good, because when a capacitor explodes, it can be frightening. And what transpired was that they used cheap capacitors which could not handle the voltage input to store. For example, in a model railway, if you had, say, an input voltage of, say, 20 volts, for argument's sake, and you had a capacitor that could only store 10 volts, but it was receiving 20 volts, then it would be getting too much, and it'd swell and explode. That's just a very, very basic, there's more to it than that, but that's just a basic explanation. This particular company, it was so devastating for this particular company. It affected their market share, because you can imagine the NHS, we bought thousands of computers, and they all had to be replaced because of incorrect capacitors, which is why it's saying that you must use a minimum of 35 volts. 35 volts is quite good, actually. A lot of parts on a, for example, if you were making your own LED lights up, 25 volts would do. If you're using voltage rectifiers and capacitors and so on, which I intend to use on other LED strips, be more than adequate to the 25 volts. The more, the better, really. So that's that. As far as the LEDs are concerned, I've decided to leave these lights on for now, because of other work I want to do to my coaches. You can cut these lights off. These lights are used if you want to put a red light on your end, the coach. You can have it flashing on and off. You can have it constant. You could put two lights on the back if you want. You could also put the plus and minus here on this end. You could also put white lights on this end. If you wanted directional lights sort of thing, you could put the lights there, and you can control them. via CVs. So I'm leaving these on for now. I just took these out of the way inside the coach. So that's it for the lights for now. The coach, I decided to take the top off rather than the body, just for the hell of it. And it's got a series of clips along the edge there, which I used again, these plastic spatulas, if that's what you want to call them. I've lost me this thing here, along with this. So I was able to lift the roof up, slide these in, and then just work it along, and it just popped off. What I want to do, damn it, springs come on. What I want to do is just simply put the lights into the roof and feed the wires down through to the bogies and the pickups. So I thought, I've never took a roof off before, so let's take the roof off and not the body. So I assume I should be able to get figures in there without taking the whole body off. So the exercise of taking the roof off has probably benefited me in particular, because I've never done it before. With regard to the bogie, what I've done is I've put one set of pickups on, which you can see there, and I've used a self-tapping screw. And on the this is the Mark II coach. On the Mark I, if I turn it over, this one's got a ridge where the screw, you can just see the screw in there, fits in quite nicely on the front part of the bogie, and it doesn't foul on anything, whereas the Mark I did. So I had to use my Dremel and just cut that part of the screw that's sticking out off, because it fouled. I'm assuming, I can't remember unless I went to the Mark II, whether this part here was actually on the body and not on the bogie. So that's what I did with that. If I put this down now, this bogie, I'm now going to drill a hole, and I used a 1.2mm, one of those, which is the perfect size for the self-tapping screws you get with these pickups. And I used a pilot, well, it's a punch hole rather than a pilot hole with this, and used my pin vise and just drilled slowly right inside. I'm lucky it went just inside in that ridge there, right in the middle, which was perfect. I should say it was well planned by me, but it wasn't. I was just lucky. It went right in the middle. So I now know where to put this one here. So it'll go straight down in that groove. So what I'll do now is I'll fit the other pickup, and I'll solder wires, 2 more wires on the end of here. Incidentally, that's my chicken again. The light strip is too long for here. If I get it in shot, all of it, it's too long for when I put the roof back onto there. Let's get that steady. See, it's just too long. So what I had to do with the other, which I'm going to have to do with this, like all LED strips, it has points where you can cut off, indicated by a dotted line there. You just see it there. So I'm going to cut this one LED off, and I can use it somewhere else. I could use it in a cab area, the loco. So I won't throw them away. So we'll just end up with one LED less, and it doesn't affect the workings of this. So I'm going to fit this in now, put the contact points that I screwed to this on the other bogie, and I'll solder the wires on, and then I'll show you what I've done. Thanks very much. Just quickly, what I wanted to show you before I fitted the I think they're called wing contacts. I may be wrong. Now all I wanted to do is to fit these in there between the wheels and mark the pilot hole, but these can spring out all over the place. So what I do is you get hold of the contacts as in shot and squeeze them together like that, and this is just to allow me to put this in position without it springing everywhere like that. I use this, get it in shot, this to create an indent so I know where to drill. What I then do is take this off, open the contacts out, oops, get it back in shot, take this off, open the contact outwards again, moving this all over the place here, and then reposition it and put the screw in. And it's much easier if you do that rather than trying to fit it while the springs are open. I just wanted to quickly share that with you. Thanks a lot. Hi again. Now I've finished the installation of the lights, fixed them to the top of the roof. Hopefully you should be able to see those lights. We'll turn them off. Turn one bank on. Then another. Then another. And another. And the final one. So yeah, this installation has been a success. I'll just quickly show you what I've done, and then I'll put it all together, and the final part of the video, which will be a separate video I would imagine, on how to use these lights. So yeah, that's it for now. Before I close this, what I have discovered, these little notches that I used to fix the roof on with are extremely fragile, and several of them are broke, and that's with only taking them off. So I think the next time I'll take the whole body off rather than just the roof. But anyway, the next part now will be all back together. I won't fix it on completely because of I won't route these wires properly until I come to add figures to the coach, and then I'll finish it off. But it'll give you an idea of what you can do with these lights. So thanks for now.